Hello, fifth graders. Today we're going to be covering color theory. What do you think about when you hear the words color theory? What have you learned in the past that may make you think about color theory? By now you've learned about the colors in the rainbow and even some color combinations such as the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. But there's more to color than you may think. Color theory is the way colors mix and how color combinations work together. We will be using color theory to create an overlapping bottle painting that demonstrates the transparency of glass. Here's a quick video by Simple Art Tips on YouTube that covers the basics of color theory, such as color mixing, the color wheel, and common color.
It's important for you to know how to mix your own colors to make your color palettes appear cohesive. It is also cheaper than buying a tube of paint for every color. So here's how to paint a color wheel from scratch. All you need to start are the three primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. All other colors can be created mixing these in different ways. Note that mixing all three together will make a muddy brown. The secondary colors, purple, green, and orange, are created by mixing primary colors. Red and blue makes purple, blue and yellow makes green, and yellow and red makes orange. Tertiary colors are created by mixing a primary color with a secondary color. These are red-orange, red-purple, blue-purple, blue-green, yellow-green, and yellow-orange. And now we have our basic color wheel. So to recap, you start with primaries, mix those to create secondaries, then mix one of each to create tertiaries. Now let's go over some basic terms to help you better understand and talk about color theory. A hue is the name of a color, like red, blue, green, yellow, and orange. Saturation refers to the intensity or purity of a hue. High saturation means the color is really bright, and desaturation means the color looks washed out or grayed out. Value refers to the degree of lightness or darkness of a hue. This value scale shows you a full range of values. A shade is a hue produced by adding black. So here you have a variety of shades of red made by mixing the red with increasing amounts of black. A tint is a hue produced by adding white. So now you have a variety of red tints made by mixing the red with increasing amounts of white. A tone is a hue produced by adding gray. So now you have a variety of red tones made by mixing red with increasing amounts of gray. When artists talk about color temperatures, they mean either warm colors, which are reds, oranges, and yellows, or cool colors, which are purples, blues, and greens. Opposite temperatures create visual contrast and have different psychological effects. Generally, warm colors appear bright, cheerful, and happy, while cool colors appear dark, mysterious, and gloomy. This is not always the case though. It really depends on how you present the colors. The color wheel is a great reference when you're choosing an appealing color scheme. Here are some of the most common types of color schemes. A monochromatic color scheme is made up of one hue plus either white, black, or gray. Here you have a variety of tints, tones, and shades of red. Complementary colors sit across from each other on the color wheel. The most common pairs are red and green, purple and yellow, and orange and blue. Putting these next to each other creates great contrast and visual interest. But they can easily overpower each other, so it's important to use them carefully. An analogous color scheme is made up of 2 to 4 colors sitting next to each other on the color wheel. These are just a few examples of analogous color schemes. A triadic color scheme is made up of 3 colors that are evenly spaced around the color wheel. Again, these are just a few examples of triadic color schemes. A split complementary color scheme is made up of a base color and the 2 colors adjacent to its complementary color. A tetradic color scheme is made up of 4 colors arranged into 2 complementary pairs. And a square color scheme is made up of 4 complementary colors evenly spaced around.
Now we will use acrylic paints to create our own color wheel. We will use this color wheel to help us describe color and the color combinations that we've just learned in the video. Here is a worksheet that you will paint that will help you think about color theory. After completing this worksheet, can you describe color and color theory? Can you list the most common color schemes we have explored and give examples? Think about what color relationships you would want to use in your bottle painting. Now I will begin to draw our overlapping bottles using contour lines, which are lines that define the edge of a form. Here are some examples of contour drawings of bottles that you may use in your own project. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to overlap our contour line bottles so we can paint them to look like this. The first thing that we're going to do is create a horizon line, which is going to be our tabletop. We want it slightly in the middle, but not quite. So there's our table. Now I'm going to start with one of my bottles. I want you to at least have 4 in your composition. So first I'm going to start out by drawing the lip of the bottle. So a little oval. And then you're going to draw the neck. And it can come out into any shape you want. But keep in mind that our goal is to be overlapping. Also, this is what a contour line is. It is just the outline of the shape of the bottle. So now I want another bottle that's going to go into this shape because that overlap is where all our color mixing is going to happen. So I want a slightly rounder one. I'm going to make the lip a little bit bigger, come out, and make it come out really wide on the bottom. Make sure you're drawing really lightly because it's going to be very difficult for you to erase if you do not draw lightly. So now, since this kind of comes out farther, I can even draw a bottle that is straight up and down. Since there's still overlap, it is okay to do so. Since this one's kind of skinny, I'm going to need one either like this shape or like this shape to overlap into here. So I'm going to make it a funky looking one. Skinny at the top and really wide at the bottom. You can make these any shapes that you want as long as you are overlapping. And that's how you're going to do your contour drawings of your bottles. Now that you've reached this point, do you know what a contour line is? Do you know how to create overlap? Keep in mind your chosen color scheme while you draw so that you have a plan when you move on to painting. Next, we will be combining our drawings with color theory and painting with watercolor, which will allow our bottles to look like glass. What do you remember about color theory? What color combination are you going to use in your project? I will now demonstrate how you are going to outline with colored pencil and paint your drawing with watercolor. I have decided to do a monochromatic color scheme. So I'm doing all the same color, green, but different tints and shades of green. So I have 4 colored pencils, all different kinds of green, and now I'm going to start to outline. So you need to think about what colors you want to do first, second, and third. First, I think I'm going to do a more grass green on this one. So I'm going to carefully outline my bottle. And you can go all the way through the other one because you would be able to see that if it was glass. Next, I'm going to choose a darker color. For my next bottle. And don't worry, you'll be able to erase your pencil lines. So now I've used these two colors and I have two left. I'm going with another lighter one, so I'm kind of alternating. And next, this is more of an olive. And then you're going to erase your pencil lines. Now I need to choose a color for my tabletop, and I just chose a basic brown color. I'm going to do it darker on the outsides of the bottles. So just outline it normally on the outside. Sorry, I might have covered that up. But then on the inside, since we're going to be looking through like it's glass, you can do it lighter and thinner. Like so. So I have my 4 greens set up that I want to use. I already had them in tubes, but if you want to mix your own, you can, or if you need to mix your own, you can, using black and white tints and shades. So I'm going to first start by coloring in or painting in these parts of the bottles that are not part of the overlap. So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to get my brush really nice and wet and take some of that and just start painting this whole section. The watercolor makes it seem more see-through, like glass. Make sure you're only doing this section and not the overlap. Adding more water is going to make it look more light, and less water is going to make it look darker. So, now that I chose my color for this bottle, I need to choose my color for this one, which is a darker green. And I'm going to start painting this one. Uh-oh. Need more water. It's okay if you kind of leak into there, because we're going to be mixing these two colors to create the overlap. And make sure not to go into this next one, because that will be a different overlap color. As you can see, you're really starting to see the monochromatic scheme. And now I'm going to show you how you're going to do the overlap. So you're just going to take a little bit of the color that you used before and kind of make a new area. and just mix them half and half. And then you can see how it looks like a blend of the two. Makes this color look a little bit more teal. And it looks like they're overlapping. And then you're going to continue to do that with the rest of them. Now that I have all my bottles painted and all my overlaps done, I can start doing the table and the background. So I just have a brown for the table, and I'm just going to paint the outside. I'm going to keep it kind of light, because if it was too dark, it wouldn't seem like the bottles were sitting on it. So I'm just going to continue. If you happen to leak, take a piece of paper towel and it'll soak it up if you have too much water. So I'm just going to continue to paint lightly. And then we're going to move on to the background. You can either choose to keep it a similar color, but it has to be different enough to stand out, or you can go totally opposite. I'm going to keep it in the cool colors region, but it's going to be more contrasting. So I chose a purplish color to paint my background. So it's still a cool color, but it's different enough that my bottles won't blend into the background. Over here, since this yellow-green, it makes a complementary color combination. You might see that happen. You might get more than one color scheme going on. And you can just continue to paint that until you're finished. What did you learn about color mixing? How does your project relate to the video we watched at the beginning? Do you know how you're going to order your colors so that your coloring makes sense? When you're completely finished with your project, we will complete this self-reflection worksheet to help you summarize your experience with this project. I hope that you will enjoy creating this painting all about color.